We've been asked a lot at the moment, of course, about kind of work experience in a virtual world and how people can gain that. So we just thought it'd be good just to give you a little bit of an idea of obviously what you can do, what you can't do, what you can do from home, what you can do in different circumstances. So just going to let you know what we're going to cover. So we're going to have a little chat about the current situation, what universities are looking for, what you can do from home, creating a bit of a resource pack, portfolio, that kind of thing, what you can do externally, and then just summarise obviously all the different activities that you can do. So without further ado, so obviously these have been very challenging times for all of us. Universities and higher education providers are aware that students have struggled to be able to do their work experience. So we are aware of that. We are all in the same situation. We are all obviously aware of that in schools, colleges, and obviously in higher education. So just to reassure you that that is the case, as I say, and not to be too sort of concerned about that. We obviously are all a little bit uncertain when things will return to normal and when you'll be able to come in sort of for open days, sort of at the moment we're obviously doing virtual open days, but you can still gain quite a realistic insight. Obviously, thankfully, we know that we're obviously living in a world which we've all adapted to, and obviously adapted to quite quickly in terms of the virtual world that we're all in. So there are ways that you can still do that, and you can still start to build up different experiences and get some different transferable skills as well. So what we're looking for is universities. So we obviously want to make sure that you've researched your choice of career, your choice of course, and your choice of university as well. So we want to see that you've taken that time and you've done that research. We want a well thought out personal statement that demonstrates obviously what you have been able to do. So we want to make sure that you've thought that through, that you've been able to really think about obviously what you're going into, really kind of unpick that and sort of think about what you're doing. The fact that you have been able to build on some transferable skills. The fact that you thought outside the box as well and looked at different ways to gain experience. So at the moment, we've had lots of people contacting us saying, what can I do? What can I do? There are lots of things that you can do. So the fact that you've sat and kind of planned and thought about that, we want to see that. And the fact that you've created a plan. And you're obviously keeping that up to date. You know what's going on in your profession, you know what's going on in your universities, you know what the changes are. So we're wanting you to really think it through and sort of get yourself to sort of a whole kind of range of resources available. So first of all, I think it's important to think about what you can do from home. So we know that a lot of people are obviously studying from home, maybe going into school and college a little bit, but we know that in the main, people are doing a lot of things from home. So what can you do? There are some fantastic resources out there, and I'm sure that you found some of these already. The National Career Service and Prospects have some superb information about the skills that you need to do certain careers, some fantastic links. Research your profession on the internet. So there's some great vlogs and blogs out there. There's some fantastic academic research that universities are doing. So read around what they're doing, some journals, just keep up to date on your profession and what's happening. Social media is obviously absolutely superb, and there's been some brilliant Facebook live sessions. So UCAS have been doing sessions. I watched one last week on nursing. Health Education England have been doing plenty as well if you're thinking about the health subjects. But they're also doing lots of different ones. So as John mentioned earlier, there's a session this afternoon, and I know one of our academics is part of that as well. So there's a lots of academics getting involved in things, both online, obviously doing the UniTaster things, and Facebook. Follow your professional body as well on social media. So just to give you an example, the Nursing Midwifery Council is one of those. Have a look at what they're doing in your particular professional area, and you'll get some really good insight then into that particular sort of what's happening, any research that's going on, that kind of thing. And the main thing is to use the people around you. So think about the people around you, think about the people that you know via different connections. And I'm sure that if you chat to people, they will know people who are animators, nurses, they're working as an accountant. So ask if you can chat to them. Arrange a time, obviously, when you can speak to them over Skype, where you can have a video chat or phone chat, and discuss with them. Say, what is your role? What do you do day to day? What skills do I need? What do I need to build on? What are the top tips? What's changing? That kind of thing. And then the other thing is use virtual open days, webinars, taster sessions. Universities are doing a huge amount of things at the moment. They're doing a lot of activity. I know all the universities are doing some fantastic things. You don't have to be thinking about applying to those universities, but use the resources that we're all doing, because we're obviously all working very closely together to support students. So use all the resources. Create a resource pack or a portfolio if you're looking to go into more of the sort of the animation and the TV, film, those kind of things. So start to think about a sort of resource pack that you can start to build up. Start to think about what you can do to sort of develop everything, so you've got something to, so you don't forget what you've done. You always forget what you've done when you try and think back on it, and that's something that students say to us all the time after they say, not done anything. And when you actually start to chat to them, they've done a lot. So start to think about building up a bit of a pack of things that you've done. Think about sort of collating it all, so keep it in one place so you don't sort of lose it. So you think about everything that you've researched, bookmark your key websites so you don't lose them. Think about what you need to do in your role, and that's why the careers websites are fantastic. So think about the skills to be a good nurse, think about the skills to be an accountant, think about the skills if you're going to go into TV and film, and think about how you're going to demonstrate that. And then the most important thing is to try and plan it and keep to a time scale. So we appreciate at the moment some people are sort of in school, maybe a day or two a week. There's lots of different things going on. You're studying from home. Quite a unique sort of situation that we're in. So plan that out really carefully. So plan the research, thinking about your personal statement, thinking about your interview preparation like Angie was just talking about. So start to collate it all now. So when you do get to September and October, you're not trying to think, where did I find that really useful journal? You've got it to hand. So what can you do externally? What can you still what's available to you still externally? So there has been demand obviously in certain areas still, and I know lots of students that I've been chatting to and working with both in year 12 and sort of year 13 have been doing some fantastic roles within the NHS, some great opportunities for volunteering. Obviously retail, those kind of areas are still looking for support. And there's some absolutely superb community initiatives as well. So I've just put some links on there that you might want to go back to and have a look at when you've got a little bit more time, because particularly the community initiatives, there's some really good sort of roles in there, sort of the local things that are in your area. So obviously you can support the local area. So there are still things available. You just need to think about any kind of gaps that you've got, and maybe think about how you can just do a little bit, obviously either from home, externally, or a little bit of both. And the main thing to sort of think about as well is, and this is something that I've been chatting to quite a lot of students about at the moment, is definitely don't underestimate what you've done recently over the last few months. So don't underestimate the support that you've given to your family, your friends, your neighbours. You've gained a huge amount of skills from doing that. So obviously you've worked as part of a team, whether that's collaboratively with your neighbours to make sure that an elderly neighbour has got food and is helped with sort of anything that they need, any appointments or anything like that. You've obviously helped your family in terms of making sure that the family network pulls together as well. You've obviously developed some great communication skills, because we've all had to communicate differently. Working with a wide range of different people, as I say, you might have helped sort of people who you've not met before. I know in our surrounding neighbourhood, people have been working very closely together. You've probably pushed yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit as well. So again, we've all had to take on new challenges in this different time. And I know certainly the virtual sort of delivery style is very unique for all of us. I'm sure all the presenters will agree today it's a unique thing. So we're all had to change what we do as well. Resilience. Lots of resilience that we've had to all develop, and just helping people with daily tasks and being aware of what's going on around you. So definitely don't underestimate what you've done. As I say, people have done a huge amount in the last few months in the community sort of setting, and with sort of family and friends, and the wider network of family and friends as well. So just to summarise all the different areas that we've spoken about, because I know there's quite a lot to talk about in the different areas of work experience, but just to kind of sort of summarise what we've talked about. Obviously, and I'm sure that you've heard this from lots of universities, but we absolutely put a huge amount of value on attending as many open days as you can. Even as I say, if you're not thinking about that university, open days are fantastic, because you get a lot of background information to support with your personal statements, interviews, and what that subject's all about as well. Social media is superb, like we've said, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever you prefer to use. We'll have a look at what's going on there. I've been reading some fantastic articles and journals that sort of academics have written. Find people who do the role, chat to them, use the internet resource. Have a little think about any gaps that you might think you've got in what you're doing, and then have a little think about that and how you can plug those gaps. Look at what's going on just locally to you. So look at what's going on in your local community, find out what's happening, see if there's anybody who needs some support, and that might just be a neighbour that you can help with some sort of daily tasks. Read up on your career, so have a look at the university websites, have a look at the modules, start to think about portfolios if you're going into those particular areas. Speak to current students, they're very keen to speak to you, so have a chat on social media groups, student rooms, very good. Attend, obviously the fact that you're attending things like this today is brilliant, but there's some subject sort of specific ones as well, so just make sure that you're kind of using all the resources out there, you're keeping a log of it, and you're up to date, as I say, with what's happening in your profession, because we know, as I say, certain professions, I mean, physiotherapy is a good example where I know physiotherapists are obviously now very active in the recovery of people who've had COVID sort of thing, so that's really important again, because their career is changing, the world that we have worked in has changed, so just be aware of that and obviously keep up to date with that through, as I say, sort of through all the various things. So that's just a little summary of all the various things that you can do. So thank you for listening. I just wanted to give you, like, as I say, a little bit of an overview and to answer some of the questions that we've been asked an awful lot. So yeah, thank you for listening.